Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do my spring favorites. It's been a few months since my last favorites video, and that's because I just haven't been reading as much as in the past. I have actually been listening to a lot of morbid true crime podcasts, which is great if you're into true crime. I'm sure you already know about that podcast, but it means I've been reading less. If you want to see my last favorites video, I will link it down below. Instead of doing these monthly, depending on how much I read, I might start doing them quarterly, but I will continue to talk about the books and other things I love as the year goes on. Okay, I did not write these down and I don't have my phone. I lost my phone. See my last video about how I lose everything. So I'm just gonna do these from my brain. The first book I read was The Love Hypothesis. I'm not big into romance, but I know that this one is beloved, and my library had the audiobook and I was in the mood for romance, as you'll see. If you don't know about this book, it started off as a Reylo fanfiction. For those not in the Star Wars world, that means Rey and Kylo Ren. I am not a shipper of Reylo, unlike some other family members of mine. But I don't think that the Reylo origins of this story really come out in the final book. It is a grad school setting, and essentially a grad student has to fake date a professor. It's not her professor, so it's like totally allowed. They make sure it's allowed and everything. He's not her supervisor or teacher in any way. And I really liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It was one of those books that I could not put down. I just kept listening to it constantly. I would listen to it before I went to bed. And if you know me, you know I sleep a lot. I love sleeping. It's like my favorite thing. I was so invested in it that I wouldn't fall asleep. I kept having to extend the sleep timer, which for me means that I'm really, really into the book. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. As romance goes, from what I've read of romance, which is admittedly not a lot, it was really cute. Some of the plot points I felt were kind of contrived and maybe not what would have actually happened in real life. But again, it's a romance novel. It's not necessarily supposed to mimic real life, so that might not bother you. But if you're looking for cute romance, bonus points for university setting. As a former grad student and as someone married to a current PhD student, a lot of the commentary was pretty spot on about that culture. So 3.5 stars. I really, really liked it. I could probably bump it up to 4. I will probably read it again because it was exactly what I needed. So after that one, I'm like, let's ride this romance train. I really enjoyed that. So let's pick up one of the second most popular romances, which was Beach Read by Emily Henry. I did not like this one. Long story short, I did not like this one. I think I gave it 2 stars. It was really disappointing, actually. I think part of the problem, though, is I tend to not like stories about authors. For some reason, it just always seems uninteresting to me, and like the author is putting too much of themselves into the story, which may or may not be true, but I always feel that way. This story is about 2 authors. One writes like literary fiction, and the other one is a romance writer. And they're both like struggling to write their next novel, and so they challenge each other to write a novel of the other person's genre. They go on kind of like dates with each other that's like research focused. Honestly, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. The research plot points seemed not important to the actual story. Like, it really diverted. And some of it got kind of heavy, that like they would be interviewing people whose family members died of suicide, and it just like would get really heavy at parts, but then it didn't really go anywhere. I just didn't really like this one, and it was my first book by Emily Henry, so I almost didn't pick up the next one, but I'm really glad I did. It is People We Meet on Vacation. So I started off with the audiobook on this one, and then my app stopped working. I was like halfway through this book, I was really into it, and then I couldn't listen to it anymore, so I went out and I had to buy this paperback so I could finish it. I probably gave it 3.5 stars. Again, like the love hypothesis, but could probably go up to 4 because it was really enjoyable. The main character in this, she works for a travel company. This is obviously not the world I live in. She works for like a travel magazine that pays for her to vacation places so that she can write about them for their magazine. Okay. She goes every year and takes her friend, who is a teacher, has summers off, and they go vacation somewhere like every year together. They are just friends. This has kind of a dual timeline where you know that something in the past went awry between them, and they kind of had a falling out. And you get the sense that it's because feelings started to bubble up between them, and maybe she made a move and it was not well received. That's kind of like what it leads you to believe, but it doesn't really come out and says that. So they're going on one last vacation together. So throughout the book, you see all their past vacations. It kind of alternates present and then in the past, like up to like 12 years ago, and you see how their friendship has developed over the years and some of the wild things they've gotten into. And I don't know exactly what it was about it, but I just found it really charming, and I really liked the writing style in this, which surprised me because I really didn't like the writing style in Beach Read, and it's the same author, and she published these like a year apart, but to me they seemed like completely different books. So then I read some poetry collections. So I read Mules of Love by Ellen Bass, and I picked this one up because I really love her poem The Thing Is, which is published in this collection. That's the entire reason why I picked up this collection. And after reading the entire collection, it became apparent that that poem wasn't an accurate representation of the other poems that are in this collection. Not to say that they're bad, they just didn't quite have the same feeling to them. A lot of them were very heavy. The first part especially were very steamy. It's the only way I can think of to describe that. There was one about her daughter's 21st birthday that I really liked, but overall they just didn't quite have the same feeling as The Thing Is. And the second poetry collection I finished was Come Thief by Jane Hirshfield. Let me just say, Jane Hirshfield and Ellen Bass, they write very different types of poetry. Jane Hirshfield tends to write more simplistic, shorter poems. You can tell that Jane Hirshfield has studied the art of writing haikus, and even though most of her poems aren't in the traditional like 3 lines haiku format, they still have that same like essence to them. They're like very simple on the surface. They focus on maybe like an object or a certain thing in nature. They're more implicit than explicit. I am looking forward to reading more by her. This collection, it was fine. I gave it 3 stars. It was really hit or miss. Okay, so some other favorites. We had a crumble cookie open up near us, and I'm obsessed. They are the best cookies I've ever had in my life. I'm sorry if you don't have one near you, but if you do and you haven't tried it, it's worth it. Sometimes the wait times can be pretty long, so I recommend downloading the app, placing your order in the app like before you drive over. My favorite cookies, their milk chocolate chip. I also like their New York cheesecake. Cookies and cream was really good. The Boston cream pie was really good. I really like the waffle one too. The thing is though, their menu changes weekly. It's genius and also detrimental to my wallet because every week I see like their new flavors. I'm like, oh, I gotta try that one. Some makeup favorites. I tried out M Cosmetics for the first time. I've been wanting to try them forever. I tried their Heaven's Glow blush. This is in the shade Baroque. It is a beige color. And I know it doesn't look like anything much, but if you have very fair skin, it can be hard to find a subtle blush because a lot of blushes are either too bright or too dark. And so I just wanted something for those like minimal makeup days that I can wear as like a little bit of something on my cheeks, but not too much. This is not the blush I'm wearing right now, but I am wearing it as eyeshadow. The blush I'm wearing right now is actually the Rare Beauty liquid blush. I have it in this shade Encourage. And this isn't the shade that I would have normally gone with because it is a little bit deep for me, but they were sold out on all their other like lighter shades, so I had to go with it. It took me some getting used to because this is the first liquid blush I've ever tried. It works best with your fingertips. I tried it with a brush, I tried it with a sponge, tried it all different ways. It works best if you just take like one dot, I put it on the back of my hand, I get it on my fingertips and I pat it in, and then I go over it with a sponge. This isn't necessarily a favorite because I haven't been wearing it, I just put it on today. But today on my lips I'm wearing the Rare Beauty Matte Lip Cream in the shade Inspire. I absolutely love this formula. It's like a mousse. It's matte, but it's not drying at all. So I will probably wear this more this spring and summer because oh my gosh, it's wonderful. And the last makeup favorite, this is from M Cosmetics again. This is their mascara. It is a tubing mascara. I don't know why it took me so long to try a tubing mascara, but it is life-changing. They coat your lashes in little tubes, and so when you take it off at the end of the night, it doesn't smudge. It just like comes off in little tubes and wipes away. I love it. So yes, you need this. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to catch my future videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye. I am self-conscious about showing my shoulders on camera because I don't always like the way that they look. But I'm just trying to not think about it and to feign confidence because it is hot in Alabama. We are trying a new camera setup today because they planted a tree outside my window, which I enjoy. I like the tree, but it has totally shifted my lighting situation. Let me know if you like it better. If you don't like it better, you can kindly express that opinion in the comments down below. Okay, I'm also holding my mic on a notebook because I need a table or something. It did take me a little bit to get into it, and so no, I'm sorry. That's not what happened. We are filming with Spook in the room. He is below the camera. It's a very precarious situation. Where did that noise come from? That was weird. She has like a whole book about haiku. Am I saying haiku because of the, I meant haikus. Can't even say it anymore because I'm so used to haiku. I don't like the way that bronzer looks on my skin tone personally, and I think that is because I'm so fair. It doesn't look natural on me because I don't tan naturally, I freckle. I'm sorry, some of them were very explicit. This is from M. You'd think I'd be able to say that.